And hey, you're on Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy. Those who don't know, I'm Teddy, and the other guy is Randy, and we'll tell you about our special guest, Summer McGee, momentarily. But before we get started, let's be grateful and show and speak about our sponsor this year. It's Blackwell Captive Solutions. Is your healthcare plan your biggest spend? If you have a small business or any kind of a business, especially if you're doing self-insured, if you want more power and greater transparency with your health plan, Blackwell Captive Solutions helps equalize the playing field so your cost is not based on what the insurance company wants to charge you, but rather allows you to track every dollar and manage your price, your costs more transparently. Reach out to Blackwell Captive Solutions and have a conversation with them and let them know that Teddy told you to call them, not Randy. So, good, Randy. Let me introduce myself while you finish doing what you need to do. For those who've never met me, I'm hiding in a different space today. I'm not going to tell you where I am. It's somewhere in Raleigh, North by God, Carolina. I run a business called Burriss Consulting. We do LinkedIn training, strategy, consulting, one-on-one coaching. We do webinars and seminars across the globe. Sometimes I just stand on the street corner and I just start preaching the power of LinkedIn. But then I got arrested and I had to stop doing that. Hey, Randy, are all the ducks in a row?
Yeah, we're all set. I've got us up and running on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So we're ready to roll. Randy Wooden with Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina, director for our professional center based here in Winston. But I have clients, all over, but mostly here in the Triad. So if it's maybe you or somebody you know that is thinking about a job search, or maybe unfortunately you're out of a job right now, reach out to me. We're free, happy to get you on the calendar and work with you to help you get wherever it is that you want to go. So again, find me on LinkedIn, or I may fill in for Teddy and stand on a street corner when, whatever, but you can find us. We're easy to find. We're happy to help. But every week I get together with Teddy and we have a lot of fun and we learn stuff, and today's no exception. So by the way, if you have comments or questions for our guest today, put them in the chat area. Teddy will keep an eye on that. Summer McGee joins us. She is the president of Salem College and Salem Academy, where I'll introduce you briefly and then have you tell us a little more about your background. But we're going to talk today about a very, it's been around for a long, long time, Salem College. We're going to understand its history. We'll dive into how it differs from Salem Academy, how they differ. What are some of the challenges that not just Salem has faced, but higher education in general, thanks to COVID and the other market forces that are out there. And we'll learn some fun things about Summer and what brought her here and motivates her, and just really get to know her as a person as well. So I'm glad you joined us. So before we dive in any further, Summer, if you would introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. Well, it is my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation to join you today. I am Salem's 22nd president. Over 251 years we have been around. And so I am happy to be number 22. I came to Winston-Salem from the Northeast. I was at the University of New Haven for 8 years prior, where I ultimately was the founding dean of the School of Health Sciences. And I've been an academic now for almost 20 years, and earned degrees from Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, where I earned my PhD in health policy and bioethics. My area of specialization is actually ethics, and particularly ethical issues in healthcare. And I began studying that when I was a wee undergraduate student back at Indiana University many, many years ago. And so I've been very fortunate to be in academia for a long time, worked at a wide range of institutions, and am very pleased to be here in Winston-Salem now and to lead this really historic and significant institution.
Hey, Randy, I don't think anybody's ever used the words "we"
Ethics?
in the context of you and me.
The word what again?
I'm sorry. Word "we." I was a wee little,
Oh, the wee little.
Yeah.
Hey, that whole topic about bioethics, that would be a show in and of itself. Yeah. It really would be. And whether you or maybe others that colleagues of yours, write that down, Teddy. That'll be that'll be a good topic.
It's a fun topic. There's always something new going on in the technology space. What I particularly studied was looking at ethical issues in public health, which certainly during the COVID-19 pandemic became incredibly relevant, whether we were talking about vaccines or how to think about quarantine. So, but have studied a lot of different topics in that area. So would love to come back or refer you to a colleague or two that I know in the area who could talk about that. It's a lot of fun.
One of the things I always ask a guest before we kind of dive into the meat of the conversation is your why. And you've touched on the passion for academia, but then again, I'm thinking on the one hand, you got this box that says biomedical and healthcare related stuff. And now you're more of an operations over an entire organization. So that's a bit of a shift, I suppose. You're getting away a little bit from the bioethics piece. What's the why for you? What brought you here from Connecticut?
Well, I had the fortunate or perhaps unfortunate opportunity during the pandemic to be my previous institution's COVID-19 coordinator. So I was the person responsible for making sure that all the daily changing regulations and requirements for how to operate a college or university were being followed. And so, I had been squarely on the academic side of things, been a professor, a program director, and then a dean. And when COVID came and I was asked to take on this responsibility because I had a PhD in public health, I had an opportunity to learn about every aspect of running a college and university, student affairs and the residence halls. And that really opened my eyes to the possibility of moving beyond just staying in the academic realm and really leading an entire institution, as I had the opportunity to do during COVID. So that was a bit of course, a very challenging time to be leading an institution and opening before there were vaccines or anything like that. But that really was what made me think maybe I was ready to move into a college presidency, but had always known that I wanted to lead within academia, had run centers and research programs. And so had always had that bent for leadership. But that was really the time when I realized that my long history of being an educator might be pointing me in the direction of becoming an administrator as well. And so that's really how that evolution took place just in the last couple of years. Yeah.
So you came down here from Connecticut. So I came down from Ohio by way of Rhode Island or whatever. Anyway, so I lived one state away from you, and I bet you're really digging the weather. I mean, compared to Connecticut and
it's fantastic. And, and having grown up in the Midwest outside of Chicago, where there was lake effect snow and all of that. So I spent the majority of my life in a very cold and wintry place for a long time. So this has been great. I can't even believe how mild the winter has been. I will say, though, July and August are rough. It is just darn hot in Winston-Salem for those months. So it's been great. Definitely an adjustment in climate for sure. But it's wonderful. I really love North Carolina, and Winston's a great place to be.
Yeah, some trade-offs for sure, but you got the beach and the mountains, and the education, higher education. The state of North Carolina is well known for excellence, and so no exception with Salem. So we're going to dive into that. Let me ask you this: people have heard of Salem College, and they've maybe heard of Salem Academy. So help us understand how they differ. What are the demographics? How that differs? Just to explain that to folks.
Yeah, so I think maybe the best way is to start with a little bit of history. So I would be remiss if I did not say that actually the academy came first. So when we were founded in 1772, we were founded as a school for girls. And so Salem Academy, which is a 9th through 12th grade all girls college preparatory academy, started in 1772. We're older than the United States. We are the oldest continuously operating educational institution in North Carolina. We actually helped UNC be founded. We gave them a little bit of a loan. So we really are the original educational institution in North Carolina and are very proud of that. And so for many years, about 100 years, Salem Academy, the girls' school, was what existed. And as we saw those girls going on and needing more opportunities for education beyond just high school, Salem College was founded. And so we are one institution, all on the same campus. And our academy students actually take classes at the college. And so we really are one institution with two slightly different missions because of the ages of the young people that we serve. But it's a really unique environment. There are not a lot of college presidents out there who also oversee an all-girls academy on the same campus. So it's really special. So we've been around a long time, and we're founded because our Moravian forebears believed in the importance of education for everyone. And that was really the nexus behind creating this school, is that they believed that everyone should learn to read, be able to read music. So the music and the arts have been a key part of Salem since our founding. And so that's really the history that these Moravians who walked 500 miles to found Salem believed that education was something that was empowering for everyone and should be used.
Yeah, Teddy? Teddy's mic is
Don. I will learn how to use this thing here. Don wants to know, Summer, if you know the answer to this question, I would wager you do. What percentage of the academy students go on to attend this college?
So a very small percentage. It is very interesting. So, and this has been true historically. We have a couple of double alums out there. You know, every decade we have a handful. But really, Salem Academy prepares students to go on to places like the University of Chicago and Duke and UNC and Wake Forest. And so occasionally we have a student who will stay on at Salem, but it's really more in part because these students have 4 years on our campus and they get to experience the college and they're ready to branch out and have a different and new experience. And so while it does happen every once in a while, Salem Academy is not a feeder for Salem College. Those graduates from the academy go on to a wide array of academic institutions.
I think back in the day when you guys were founded, I assume just, the schools were for men, and that's pretty much what existed. So then you started the academy to provide education for what I'll call high school age girls. Is that
actually even younger girls? When it was originally founded, it was for girls as young as 3 or 4 on up through, back then, remember being 16, you were like an adult, right? So it started with younger girls. But one of the fascinating things in our story is that in the very early years of Salem Academy, within the first 10 years of our founding, Salem Academy also educated African-American girls, enslaved girls were allowed to attend the academy and learn to read music and learn to sing and to learn to read and to write. And so very progressive for its time, not only just to have girls being educated, but girls of all races and ethnicities. We have a proud history at Salem Academy. We enrolled in the early 1800s, dozens and dozens of Cherokee girls who were sent to Salem Academy by and were members of the families of the chiefs of the Cherokee tribe to come and be educated. And so our commitment to diversity and the empowering spirit of education for young girls and women has really been there really since our founding. So that's a pretty cool story that most people don't know, that we were educating Cherokee girls in the early 1830s. I
didn't know that. How does all that get paid for? I mean, I don't know when public schools started, and I assume you're, as an academy or private entity anyway. So where'd the money come from? How did you raise capital to pull this off?
Yeah, so it was certainly the case that Salem Academy was private, and that students had to pay. Initially, of course, the academy was supported by the Moravian Church, by the community in Salem. And then over time, as they began to branch out and have other students come, they did have to pay. And so for a long time, Salem Academy and Salem College did serve a much more affluent population. What we see now, actually, in modern day Salem Academy and College, is that we are really committed to socioeconomic diversity. So more than 50% of our students are Pell eligible, which means they come from low income families, and are incredibly diverse as well. So we've seen that change over time, but it certainly was true historically, up until maybe the last 25 years, that Salem Academy was a private full pay institution and served well-to-do families across the Southeast.
Yeah. And so the Salem College is what I'll call a full-blown college in terms of offering a wide variety of majors and that kind of thing. So let's dial it back to the academy then. It's a college preparatory sort of environment. So you're teaching standard stuff to prepare people for school, for higher learning. Are there any, any new programs or anything that you're rolling out soon that you want to kind of say, hey, guys, pay attention to this. We can help you.
So
what's
we
going
are,
on?
We follow all of the North Carolina requirements for being a high school, but we are uniquely transforming to focus on women and girls in STEAM. So we have an incredible award-winning, recognized throughout the state, all girls robotics team. And so that is an example of one of the things that we do at Salem that is very unique. And so we've built an entirely new curriculum focused on giving our girls access to understanding and pursuing and considering careers in the sciences, in engineering, in technology. So they have the opportunity to take coursework, not just in calculus and English and history, but they have the opportunity to take courses in computer science and robotics and to learn about things like lighting and set design. And we do this through something called Innovation Days. So for 3 days each semester, there are no classes and the students just immerse themselves in hands-on activities in partnership with the business community. So we just did this about a week ago, and we had folks come from Atrium Health System, from Collins Aerospace. We had the Triad Voice magazine came and taught the students about how to lay out a magazine, just a really incredible experiences for our students. And so we are really approaching a whole new way of thinking about teaching, of course, the core subjects, but exposing them to different fields and careers.
Teddy, I don't know if you want to handle that comment in the chat area with your microphone on. That'll.
So
I got to train Teddy. Just it's week to week. You can't let your eyes off this guy. It's just one of those things. So what you got, Teddy?
I'm out of my element, and I'm going to make this happen today. Summer, help me and Dale. What is the A in STEAM?
A in STEAM is arts. So we really believe, and because the arts have been such a critical part of Salem Academy since our founding, that the creativity and all of the things that you learn from participating in the arts is still very much a key part of Salem Academy. So it's science, technology, art, engineering, and math. So as opposed to STEM, and I did see the comment in the chat, we wanted to be more broad, in part because the arts have always been such an important part of Salem, but also the creativity and the imagination and the skills that you learn from doing things in the arts is really powerful. And we wanted our students to continue to have that opportunity to learn as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I absolutely agree that if we don't celebrate and create environments where the arts are not a big part of it, I think I said that right, then we'll lose out on the creativity in creating the stuff that we need to create that can make our lives better and richer and all that stuff. And Dale realizes that the left and the right brain part of all of us is important. Randy, I'll come back to Don's comment in a minute.
We had a couple of weeks ago, we had Chase Law on here as the head of the Arts Council. And it's just interesting how the what I'll call the arts industry really impacts the community economically, not to mention culturally, but just the whole picture of art. And so anyway, it's an interesting conversation. So glad you added that. I had not heard STEAM. I'd heard STEM, but not STEAM. So I learned that today. All right. So let's
hang with me, Randy. I'll get you there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm the stick figure guy. I don't know the stick figure. One of those guys. All right. So you moved down here from Connecticut in 2021. So you timed it perfectly to be right in the midst of COVID. So what are some, oh my goodness, what did I get into? Kind of surprises, good or bad, No, some bad word. Let's say things maybe you didn't expect that maybe are a little more challenging, but other things you're like, holy cow, this is awesome. So let you pick which one you want to go with first, but what are some maybe little surprises that you encountered along the way?
Yeah, well, I'll definitely start with the good things.
Yeah.
You know, when I arrived in Winston, I was just so impressed by the educational environment that we have here in Winston. You know, we have 6 colleges and universities, all of which are different. We don't compete with each other. We collaborate with each other. And that was just so refreshing. Having come from a community where there were probably a dozen colleges and universities in a highly competitive environment. And so we have been able to develop great relationships and partnerships with Winston-Salem State and Wake Forest. Our students at the college are able to participate in the marching band and the color guard and cheer at Wake Forest University. Our students take classes at Wake. We have a course agreement. And so coming into an environment where it was all about, let's find the ways to work together and let's not compete with one another has been really, really refreshing. And the entire city of Winston-Salem, I have really felt is behind Salem. You know, Salem had some challenging times prior to my arrival, had to do a lot of work to put ourselves on stronger financial footing, which we have now done and are really in a strong position. Stronger than we've ever been in terms of enrollments and applications and all of these great things. And I really felt that the city was rooting for us. You know, we are historic. We have been here a long time. And whether you went to Salem Academy and College or not, you're guaranteed that you're only 1 degree of separation from a Salem Academy and College alum in Winston-Salem. It's just true. And so there was a real investment that was really heartening to hear. On the flip side, I did arrive right in the middle of the pandemic. And so my first day at Salem was the first day that the campus had been reopened in 18 months. And so coming to a brand new institution, having to learn everything about the institution and figuring out how we're going to reopen and operate after having no students on the campus for over a year, that was a big lift. And because Salem had been closed, we had not navigated so many of the issues that other colleges and universities had the year before because they were open. They had to. And so it was a little bit of going back in time and remembering, oh yeah, we haven't figured out how we're going to handle isolation and quarantine. And we don't know how to handle some of these issues about COVID exposures. Because we didn't do it because our students were all remote for a year. So that was a big lift. And certainly part of the reason why I came to Salem was to help us to transform, to continue to be a liberal arts college, but to be a very unique and highly focused liberal arts college focused on health and what we call health leadership. And so taking a 250-year-old institution and reimagining it, that is challenging. You know, there's a lot of history and incredibly strong alumni support. And so getting folks to understand why Salem needed to change and then figuring out how we're actually going to do it. Those were certainly big challenges that when I arrived, we had to tackle. But it's also why I came to Salem. That was what I came to do.
I would think too, anytime you want to shake up the old apple cart, you're always going to ruffle some feathers from the, we've always done it this way, crowd. And I mean, it's not unique to Salem. I mean, it's anywhere.
Absolutely.
So
and Salem is so historic and has so many traditions and ways. And we literally have done things certain ways for 250 years. Yeah, sure. I, for example, moved my office, and the president's office had been in the same building called the inspector's house for almost 250 years. And so that decision required a lot of consultation and a lot of conversation about, you know, why were we going to do that? And so those are the kinds of things that certainly it takes time, a lot of conversation and explanation of why it's sometimes time to do things a little bit differently in the modern era.
Yeah, Teddy?
Randy was going to say, man, you're mixing up terms here, shaking
Metaphors,
the apple cart and ruffle feathers.
Ruffle some feathers. What, you know, and other, I remember at High Point University, Nito Cobain kind of ran into the same thing. And he came in and said, all right, there's a new sheriff in town, and we're going to look at how we do things and analyze it. And that's taken a high point from, I don't want to say an afterthought, but certainly not the high profile that it is today in terms of fundraising and all the programs and size and everything else. So sometimes it takes a new set of eyes. And this is your first bite of that apple too. It sounds like, to actually run you like that one, Teddy? First bite of the apple? See, I should write a book. Well, actually, I am, but I digress. So good stuff. So, all right. So now you're here. You've run into some challenges. You're working through those and with varying levels of, I guess, progress and so forth. What are some initiatives that you still have that you're working on right now that you'd like to see, maybe if you can pin those down in this calendar year?
Yeah. So we're
near term.
Working on a number of things, a number of new academic programs that we have started. So when I arrived, we developed a brand new strategic plan. And a big piece of that was defining how Salem was going to continue to be a liberal arts institution, but focused on health. And so a big part of that was we had to hire new faculty. We have to start new academic programs. So we just launched a master's in health administration at the graduate level to recruit and train that next generation of administrators who are going to run health facilities. We've added a public health major, programs in nutrition, art therapy. And so we really are, developing the plan and are looking to roll out new programs as well to really shift in how we attract students and the particular programs that we offer. We're certainly moving forward and have been very successful in fundraising. We just completed a campaign where we raised $15.5 million in 18 months to support scholarships and new programs and facilities on campus. So there's a lot going on. And so, I think the big thing is, we also, prior to my arrival, had really taken a dip in our enrollment. And so we've had to invest a ton in getting back out there post-COVID, traveling, getting the word out about Salem. We're going through an institutional rebrand right now, which we will roll out in the fall. Brand new websites for Salem Academy and College, all new branding to really help position us because of these new foci. We're doing the STEAM thing, we're doing health at the college. And so to really roll us out in a new way. And that's a huge lift, right? New websites, new visual imagery, really, really important stuff. So, we are definitely an institution on the rise, as I like to say. That's what our strategic plan is called. And so we're doing a lot to make sure that we're on solid footing in terms of enrollment, fundraising, new academic programs. And there's a lot that is happening. And we're doing very similar things at the Academy, new faculty, new courses, new opportunities, partnerships. That's a big part of what we do.
Cool. Teddy, you want to tackle that halfway?
Yeah. And Randy, did you hear that? I heard opportunities for you to become a professor. I thought I heard that. I don't know. So
absolutely.
I'm down at the bottom.
And a lot of the programs we're adding are very applied. And so we're looking from folks from businesses, industry, in the community to bring their knowledge to Salem. So we're always looking for new folks to come and be adjunct professors. It's a really key part of making sure that what we teach is relevant, bringing in leaders from the community to teach our students. So if there's anybody out there who is interested and would like to have opportunity to teach at Salem College, we have incredibly bright students. It's a really fun place to teach.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Hey, let me do the ad spot. You're on Lunch Conversations with Randy and Teddy. Our special guest today is Summer McGee from Salem College and Academy. And our show is sponsored by Blackwell Captive Solutions. Carrie Niblack was on our show last week, had a great conversation about how to build a business by giving. And so they're good people. They have more than 25 years experience in health insurance business. Their medical stop loss captive is a great way, a great tool to implement for small businesses or any size business that's doing self-insured on the health insurance side. It works like a shock absorber for your high dollar claims. So if you're a small business and you have self-insured health insurance, reach out to blackwellcaptive.com and have a conversation with them. It could very well be a great way to improve or manage your insurance cost. Back at you, Randy.
Yeah. So Summer McGee, president, Salem College, Salem Academy. You've done a great job. Was it 15 something million in fundraising? And I'm assuming, so you know where that'll take me, but I'm saying that to set up my question. I'm assuming you're getting that from individuals, alums. What about business, the corporate side? Are you getting corporate donations, corporate involvement with your fundraising and promotions?
Yeah, so that's actually the next big push that we are initiating. We have a lot of partnerships and relationships with the business community, internships, and all of those kinds of things. We have a great career development center called the Lucy Rose Center, but that is really key to our strategy, right? So when Salem College decided to become the nation's only liberal arts college exclusively focused on developing the next generation of health leaders and to get more women into leadership positions in health and health related fields, we knew we were going to have to partner with corporations to fund this, to create fellowship and scholarship programs. Our graduates are going to be those leaders in the C-suite someday. That's our aspiration. That's our vision, that we're going to train those women that want to change the world and make it a better, healthier, and more equitable place. And that's our vision. That's why we're doing this, right? To address the fact that only 13% of health-related CEOs are women. We need that diversity at the top of organizations. And so corporations for whom this is important, we're looking for you and we want to work with you and want to design programs that are relevant to what you need. Everybody's got workforce gaps. Everybody's got positions they can't fill. And what I think colleges and universities need to do even more of is put our finger on that pulse and be partners with those corporations and design programs, certificates, majors, that will directly feed those pipelines. And so that's what we're having conversations about right now, to try to develop those partnerships so that we're educating young people that can go right into those places in the workforce that institutions are struggling to fill.
Yeah, and we're running, I work for Goodwill. And so we're having those same conversations with businesses to say, hey, what are the skills that are needed that are not being trained for, whether it's technical, that kind of thing, advanced manufacturing, all kinds of things, and then develop skills training, and maybe in partnership with a community college or other, institutions, adjunct folks coming in to upskill folks so we can fill the jobs that are right now not being filled. So that's a big lift. You're looking to position yourself, Salem College, as the preeminent place for particularly females to be in position educationally and with skills to ascend to the higher levels within healthcare. So this whole rebranding thing, that's kind of interesting, because anytime you make it a pivot, there are a lot of boxes you have to check, marketing and just the strategic planning and all that. So how far into this thing are you? When did it start, and how far into it are you?
Yeah. So within 90 days after I arrived at Salem, I said we needed a strategic plan, and we started working on one. And Salem had been through lots of, what I would describe, strategic visioning. The board had made the decision 2 years prior to pursue this new thematic pivot, but we hadn't begun to implement it yet, right? COVID got in the way. And so some work had been done on new majors, but we didn't have a comprehensive plan. And so when I arrived, I said, we need that plan. So we built a brand new strategic plan for the next 3 years in 6 months. Because I said, we can't sit around and take 2 years to build a plan, a 3-year plan. So in 6 months, we built that plan and outlined all the things we were going to do. The rebrand was one of that. Adding new academic programs and adding new athletic programs is another big part of it. We're planning to add 6 new collegiate sports over the next 3 years, because I really believe, I was a student athlete, that athletics is one of the most important leadership development opportunities that we can offer. And so we're going to expand there. And so we are moving along. We're going to launch a couple of those new sports this fall. So we are midway. We officially got the plan approved and began launching it last May. So we're almost a year into a 3-year strategic plan. And so, the vast majority of those projects are in progress, and it's really exciting. So we're going to be launching a cross-country team in the fall. We're looking at things like esports, which I'm really excited about, to have an all-women's esports team at the academy. We offer some really great things. We're looking to expand robotics. We offer fencing, which is a great sport, and are looking at some emerging sports as well. So there's a lot that we have been able to do already in the first 9 months of this plan, but are looking that, in the fall, we'll plan to roll out the rebrand. We'll have some new sports, some new academic programs that are starting, and we'll just kind of keep moving forward, which is really, really great. There's a lot of momentum right now, I would say. And like all institutions in higher education, we've learned now that we can move quickly. We pivoted very quickly in the pandemic out of necessity, and we've got to keep that momentum up in order to stay relevant and to make sure that we're ensuring that our students are going to go on and be successful in today's economy, which is also rapidly shifting and changing.
You bet. You think about the jobs that exist today that maybe weren't here 20 years ago or even 10, and then you leap another 10 years, 20 years ahead. We don't even know what those jobs will be. And so it's a moving target you're trying to hit. And in healthcare too, I would think too, because healthcare and technology both are evolving with new innovation, that kind of thing. What are a question came up about alumni engagement programs. What are some of the ways that you engage with the alum out there?
Well, one of them is I'm sitting in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm on the road a lot, meeting with alums and talking with them. We do a number of things on campus. One of those events is coming up actually April 14th. We sponsor an annual health leadership forum open to the entire community, but a lot of our alums come back to learn about what Salem is doing and in our new focus around health leadership. And so that's really exciting. So April 14th, if you're free, it's on the campus of Salem College, free and open to the public. Our second annual health leadership forum. We bring women leaders from around the country to talk about what they're doing in their fields and to educate our alums, our students, our faculty, everyone about what's happening in the world of health and healthcare. So that's really, really exciting. And, we engage with our alums, all around the country. We have newsletters, we have live forums. There's a lot that we do. Our alums have been our most loyal supporters. They have donated at record levels over the last 3 years. When Salem was in some financial trouble, we had a campaign that was called Step Up, and our alums stepped up to support and really save the institution in many ways. And so that generosity has continued through our 250th anniversary celebration, which was last year, and this most recent campaign. So I'm really, really proud of our alums and their dedication to the institution, because it is a very unique place. There are only 30 women's colleges left in the United States. And so they know better than anybody the power of this educational experience and have been really, really committed to making sure that we preserve this for future generations.
Yeah, Teddy?
I love the fact, Summer, that you said we absolutely love our alums, and I get it. I really do. And I know some of your alums, and they're really cool people. All right. So if you don't mind, I'll bring Don's question into the conversation, and because it's important. And that is, the world, my words, these are not Don's or anybody else, my words, the world is full of idiots. We need to figure out how to manage them. And there's a bunch of people out there. There are some people out there who have no respect for human life and students. Can you speak a little bit about Salem's philosophy and maybe a little bit about some of the tactics that you're using to protect their students?
Yeah, no, it's the tragedy of the last few days is just heartbreaking. A fellow independent school having something like that happen is just tragic. And so, for us, so much of this comes back to being in contact, close contact. We're small institutions. We know our students and their families incredibly well, and really being in touch with their mental health, being in touch with the dynamics that are going on in the community and in their families. And so that is something that I think our faculty and staff and our head of school at Salem Academy do a really great job with. We all, I think, unfortunately, have to be worried about the safety of our students in our schools. And I think so much of this is about making sure that we are strongly connected with our students and their families, and really keeping a close eye on student mental health. That is probably the biggest challenge for both high schools and colleges today, is having the resources and having the supports for our students. Depression and anxiety are on the rise, and we have to really keep a close watch. We talk a lot about security because we, of course, are a campus that is adjacent to a living history museum open to the public. The public walk through our campus all the time. We have students take classes in buildings that also have public art galleries in them. And so, we are a very open campus. And so the reality is that we have to be prepared. We do drills and all kinds of things, to be prepared technically. But a lot of this is just making sure that our students also feel supported. And after events like this happen, what we tend to do is talk about it, because students get scared. We had the Mount Tabor shooting here in Winston-Salem, since I've arrived. And so we had students who were impacted, who had gone to that high school and new friends that were there that day. So it is always on our minds and something we have to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned about the enrollment is up. That's a good thing. Your campus is beautiful. I've had the pleasure of getting lost there a few times. But no, it is nice. I mean, I've been to different events there and so forth. So it's very beautiful. I don't know how much room you have for expansion geographically, but given the enrollment on the rise, are there any plans for construction, new buildings to house some of these new programs that you've got coming out?
Yeah, we are very fortunate that while we are a landlocked campus, we have plenty of space. So we have enough room right now. Salem Academy grew its enrollment by 10% last year. Salem College has had 2 back-to-back years of record applications. We doubled the size of our incoming class last fall, and we are on track to probably grow by another 50%. So fortunately, we have the space to grow. We have enough residence hall room for the foreseeable future that we will be able to support that. But we will need to do renovations. We need to modernize our spaces. And so my approach to that has been, of course, we need to preserve our beautiful historic facades and our buildings, but we can do some modernizing inside. That's what students are looking for. They want the modern amenities and appliances and in their classrooms and in their living spaces. And so that's what we're really going to focus on. So not building new buildings, but renovating and updating the buildings that we have. So for example, the former president's residence, which is right smack in the middle of campus, will actually be renovated starting this summer to turn it into a center for leadership for both the academy and the college. And so keeping the beautiful buildings that we have, but reimagining them and turning them into something more modern, aligned with our strategic plan.
Yeah, Teddy?
Greg asked, and Greg, good to have you on here. It's been a while.
Yep.
Greg is one of Randy's and our stalkers. He stalks us often. But he asked this question, says, a college, Salem College alum are often first-time college graduates in a family. Is he saying that right? Am I saying that right? Are you getting a lot of first-time generations? How does that help you, or how does that influence the way you recruit and maybe even fundraise?
Yeah. So this year, this admission cycle, 53% of our students who have chosen Salem College so far, and we're not done yet, we go till May 1st, are first generation college families. So Greg is exactly right. And so what it means is we do a lot of educating, not just the prospective student, but the entire family about how financial aid works, about what it means when you go away to college, all of the things that, higher ed folks take for granted about residence halls and meal plans. And so we really take an approach of making sure that the entire family is prepared to have their student go to college. And I think that one of the things that we're most proud of is actually we are ranked #1 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report for social mobility of our graduates, which means students who come to Salem who are Pell eligible graduate in 4 years and go on to a job or go on to a graduate school at higher rates, higher percentages than anywhere else in the country. So we're really proud of that. And we're able to do that because we have small classes. We have incredibly dedicated faculty. And so what we're seeing is that our approach that's translating into great outcomes and real success. And so that is something we will continue to do, is to recruit students who are first generation and who come from low income families. And so that's a big part of who we are. And as I said at the top of the show, that's what we were founded to do, to make education accessible to everyone, and the power of education be something that everybody gets to harness. So we're really committed to it, but it does mean that we have to spend a lot of time focusing on making sure that students are prepared and supported. It means we have to work really hard to retain them because the college experience is not just a linear, smooth path where everything goes exactly according to plan. Life happens. And so we really have to provide a lot of supports and services for our students as well to make sure they graduate.
And that's probably some of the reasons that you have such a rich environment and with the entire family, and how it creates a bigger family all the way around, because you start from what is this and how's it going to impact everyone. So kudos to you guys for putting that effort in, and not just having a recruitment period and sign up and we'll get to you later.
And I wonder too, because going to college, time management and learning to say no are two big things. And the attrition rate for an incoming student in college is pretty high. And I would imagine, especially in the case of it being a first generation, hey, it's the first time anybody in our family went to college, that's got to seem like hitting a tidal wave. And so what are some things that you do to retain these guys as they come in to survive that first year?
Yeah. So, we have a unique approach. We have dedicated first year advisors, faculty members who work with our students in the first year. Those ultimately may not be who their academic advisor is as they choose a major and move forward. And so we have a group of people who are really focused on just making sure that transition goes well. We have a really robust summer orientation program that includes parents and families to help them get prepared for that transition. And so, and then it is really, we do this one student at a time. Salem has never been a large institution. We've never had more than 1,200 students. And so part of our strength and our pride is that we are small and that we really can know every single student and their family and what is going on with them. And that makes a big difference. And so we commit to doing that while we plan to grow and we want enrollment to continue to increase. We have no aspirations to, be the size of High Point or Campbell or any of those other institutions, because that's not who we are or ever have been. And the families that choose us are looking for a place that feels like a family, that a campus that feels like home. That's how we differentiate ourselves from everyone else out there. And that's what students and families say, that they feel when they come onto the campus, they feel like they're part of a family and that this will be their home away from home.
I was in a similar situation. I went to a small private college in Ohio, and about the same enrollment, about 1,200, give or take a few. So again, same small size, class size, that kind of thing, hands-on. You don't have to wait to be a junior, senior to be able to actually touch anything. And you actually have professors that teach you, and versus a student. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. Hey, a quick question, because I see this on resumes from time to time at our professional center, where a male has earned a degree from Salem College. So, are there master programs? Because it sounds like it's a woman's school. Help me understand that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so we our adult education programs and our graduate programs are open to both men and women. So our traditional age students are all women. Salem Academy has always been all girls and will always be. But at the graduate level and adult education programs, we do also admit men. It's a small percentage, but we certainly have had many folks, particularly those post-military or who are coming back to school for a second degree. And at the graduate level, we do have men as well.
Gotcha. And about commuters too. I mean, do you draw a lot from the local area to where they would commute, or are you more of a, I guess, what do you call it, residential? What's that called when they live there?
Yeah. So we are a traditional 4-year residential campus. The number of commuter students has varied over the years. On average, I would say it's been about maybe 20%. So about 80% of our students live on campus. We have a 4-year residential requirement. And we say, unless you're living at home with mom and dad, or you got married, you are expected to live on campus with us for all 4 years. And we really build a really strong community because of that. And so we do have commuter students. During the pandemic, we had many more because students were just not willing to go far away to college and were staying home and chose Salem. But our goal is to be somewhere between 80 to 90% 4-year residential students.
I got you. Hey, in a few minutes here, I'm going to ask you a couple of talking points that you want people to take with them. But a quick lightning round here, if you'll play along. So you moved down here. So what is it, Teddy Barbecue? What is it? East, what is it called? The two types.
Well, there's
which barbecue do you like?
The vinegar and non-vinegar.
Vinegar and non-vinegar.
Oh gosh, my husband's a Texan, so the answer is I only like Texas barbecue.
Okay. Texas Peter.
We'll let you stay here just the same.
Texas Peter Tabasco sauce.
Oh, Tabasco.
There you go. Dukes or Hellman's or whatever
Dukes.
else is out there. Dukes.
Oh, she
Definitely.
pulled off Dukes. Okay.
Okay.
That was 2 out of 3. So that's
The lightning round. You didn't know you're going to get a quiz show. Sites you've seen here in the area, things that you're like, holy cow, it's pretty cool stuff. Have you had a chance to get out and about when you're not making things happen there?
I have.
Yeah.
So I love going to, I've never lived in a place that had mountains. So we love to get away to Asheville. It's just beautiful there. Love spending time in Boone. So that has been great. Haven't spent much time at the beach. I need to correct that this summer, I think, and make my way to the Outer Banks. Never been there in my whole life. So that is definitely on the bucket list. But yeah, I have to say, I love the city of Winston-Salem. I tell everybody it is everything that you want: great food, restaurants, culture, all of that, and none of the stuff that you don't want, the traffic and, the high prices for housing. And so I think that Winston is a really fantastic place. And the Triad, it really has a lot to offer. So, I've been really impressed with everything that we've seen here, and love being able to get to enjoy the mountains. That's new.
Did Teddy?
Todd Porter's a little upset that she didn't choose Texas Pete.
I know. I know.
Oh.
I'm trying. I'm really trying.
We're just playing. So
what are a couple, 3 takeaways you'd like us to have, people watching, about the past, the present, the future? A couple thoughts, 3 thoughts.
Yeah. So, I would just want folks to know that Salem Academy and College are both going through some really transformative times. Things are on the upswing. We are an institution on the rise, enrollment and financially, and all of these things. We are in a stronger place than we have been in probably the last 5 years. We've got big plans for corporate partnerships and business relationships. And so would love for folks to reach out to us. If you're committed to the power of education and the importance of women being around the table, we would love to talk to you. We are continuing to build bridges and relationships with our alums and with the broader community. And on a personal note, I'm really proud to be the president of Salem Academy and College. It is a historic institution. It is an important institution right now in the educational landscape. We've got a lot to offer, and we're going to be here for another 250 years if I have anything to say about it. So really glad to be here, and thanks for letting me share some of Salem's story today.
Yeah, you're welcome, Summer. Thanks for joining us. Teddy's been around for most of those 250, by the way, so he's got a lot of stories he could share.
Yeah,
so
I keep
just
telling
saying,
you, Randy, use oil of Olay, buddy.
you don't look a day over 100, right? So, hey, maybe one of these days I can get you or maybe Oriel to give me a tour of the place. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we would love
that.
to. We'd love to have you come to campus. Everyone's welcome to come to campus. We'll take you to eat in the refectory and show you all the sites. It'll be a lot of fun.
Summer McGee, thank you for joining us. President Salem College, Salem Academy. Teddy, I did a quick story for you, and I'll kind of sort of, and we'll also talk about next week's guest. But when you really get down to it, you're a business. And, students back in the day, we marketed to students largely get education for the joy of education. And then there became a push from parents who are writing these checks and the students to say, no, I want to make sure I'm darn well prepared for a fulfilling career and where I can earn a living and leverage the money that I'm paying you guys now so that I can earn more later. And ultimately it becomes a financial choice as well as a cultural choice. And so you're trying to marry those two, which again, is not hard necessarily or impossible, but you're a business and you've got to realize where you are now and where do you see the need in the future and position yourself as the solution. And good businesses who realize that can pivot and still stay relevant. Otherwise, you're a Blockbuster or, what is Office? What was that company went out? Computer? What was that called? CompuServe? CompUSA?
Computerland. Yeah.
All those. You don't want to be one of those. So that's off to you. A dinosaur. Don't be a dinosaur. Teddy, what you got? Anything?
Yeah. So I love Salem College. I have a daughter who got her master's in early childhood education at Salem, and I've been on campus dozens of times pre-COVID. And you just remind me, I got to reach back out and find out how I can come, help again in some of the programs I enjoyed. So if anybody who's listening to the show, if you don't know much about Salem College, listen to the whole show and then go visit campus. It really is not only a beautiful place, but a really caring place to visit. So Randy, who's coming up next week?
We are going to have a good, actually a really good show. We've got Lee Garrity coming on. Yeah. And for those who may not know, Lee is the manager for the city of Winston-Salem. So he's got a job and a half because that's a big old budget and there's all kinds of stuff going on. We're going to learn what does a city manager do? Yeah.
What is that? Who is that?
What do they do?
Yeah.
And and Lee's retiring. I think he's going to retire this summer. Yeah. So we're going to find out, just like we did with you, what makes this guy tick. He's been on the job for a long, long time. What's his why? We're going to understand what that type of job does and maybe some of the challenges and some of the successes they've had over the years. And also, what's he going to do now that he's retired? He's going to step down. We'll have to find that out next week. So be sure to check us out. That'll be our first show of the new month, by the way. And that'll be on the 5th. By the way, I have a wall calendar, Summer, here. I'm old school. Hear it?
It's a wall calendar. Number 2 pencil as well. So Summer, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it. We appreciate our audience showing up every week and hanging out with us. We're also grateful for Blackwell Captive Solutions being our sponsor. They're all about helping organizations manage ownership, peace of mind, price stability for their insurance and reducing claim costs. BlackwellCaptive.com. We'll see everybody next week. Again, Summer, thank you very much. Thanks, Randy, go off and have fun and stay out of trouble, and I will see you again soon.
Lunch is on you. See you.
Right.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye, everybody.
I know.